Hello guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to draw the 3/4 view of the body proportions of an anime boy. So let's get started. First off, let's draw a vertical line for the center of the body. This is where the character is going to be, and then a line for the ground or the bottom of the character, and then a line for the top of the character, top of the head. And then I'm going to give this character a 6 heads height. So first off, I'm going to divide it into 2. And okay, that was terribly wrong. Okay, like that. And this is where his pelvis is going to be. And then from here, I'm going to divide the upper half into 3 sections, and this is going to be the height of a head, of the head. And then this is going to be, I'm going to divide it into 2 because I don't really need to divide the legs into 3 parts. And now let's go on and zoom in a little bit and start with the head. Always like to go from top to bottom because I don't know, because we pay more attention to this part. Maybe, I don't really know. And by the way, first off, I'm going to just, draw some very simple shapes for the proportions. This is a sketch. Of course, after I have drawn, the sketch, you can, or we will draw in the details. Okay, now the neck. I'm not going to go into details on how to draw the head because I have another video on how to draw the 3/4 view of the head of an anime boy. But basically, you want to keep everything on this line. You see, this side and this side is the distance from the center is exactly the same, so that it does not look like he's tilting off to one side. The same goes for the neck. You want to be exactly on the center of the body. Now it's a little bit hard to explain how the length of the neck should be. You just have to be experienced with it. But basically, just look at some references and you will get it. It's not that hard. Now for the shape of the body. Okay, so he's gonna be standing like straight up, and when we're standing straight up, we actually curves like this on our back. And in this case, you can only see a part of the back though, so it's just like that. And this part is it curves a little bit inside, but it's still pretty straight compared to this curve. And then make sure, you might think that because this part is closer to us, this side has to be further from the center than this part. But in real life, that difference is very small, very minimal. So you can pretty much just disregard that fact. Now just keep these 2 sides equally far from the center. Now we're not gonna draw the arms first. We are going to finish off the main stem of the body. Again, the hips, keep them on the same side. Actually, this curve was a little bit too much. I'm gonna be almost completely flat, not fat but flat. Yeah, maybe I should draw some characters that are fat. What do you guys think? I might be doing a video on how to draw fat people. I don't know, overweight people, by the way. Fat is maybe a little bit negative, I think. I don't know. But for legs, just simple shapes. You can just do two rectangles down here like that. But you could also, if you plan to give him a bare legs, without a garment covering the legs, then you might want to give him some shapes. But we're gonna give him a pair of jeans later on, so it's not really that important. And by the way, the knee is not on this line. It's a little bit above this line because we're gonna save space for the ankle and the feet. And by the way, just for the sake of learning, I am going to draw in some shape of the leg so that you guys can see if where to draw him naked or something, how should it look like, how it should look like. So it basically gets really thin there. And also when we stand, our toes tend to point, in two directions. So it creates a V shape, and in here you can see that, this foot is pointing towards that point, and this foot is almost at pointing almost at the camera. So like that, maybe a little bit to the side too. And as you can see, I'm drawing it in orthographic. You might want to, if I were to draw it in a perspective 3D way, I would have, drawn this foot much lower, so that you get the angle from above, because when you're looking at the character and you look at his feet, you're looking from above. But in this case, we're just gonna draw him orthographic so that you guys can see the proportions, different proportions. I might want to do a video on how to draw it in perspective. So for this leg, because he's pointing to the side, the curves became even more significant, more clear. Okay, that's it. And let's just go up again. And for the arm, we are going to just, some people want to draw, a circle there and a circle there for the joints. You could do that if you find out that it works for you. A lot of time, I think it's just, unnecessary. So just do something like this. And by the way, I'm just going to give him some, lines to indicate where different parts of the body is. And by the way, in order to avoid it looking a little bit too stiff, because nobody really, stand with their hands that stiff. If you stand, relaxed, your hands, your joints are actually curved, by its nature. So it's like that, and this one is being covered mostly, and like this. Yeah, pretty good. And by the way, the wrist is gonna be around where the pelvis is. It really depends on the proportions of the characters. Some people have long arms, some people have short arms, but this is a rule of the thumb. Now for the hand. So the size of the hand is something that I think is really hard to get correct. Take me a lot of time to be experienced with it. But it's basically like this. By the way, I feel like this character is a little bit not that much of a 3/4 view. Maybe I should have drawn, the legs overlapping each other a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to actually move it a little bit closer to each other. Yeah. Let us zoom out again and look at it from above. And if you can't, because this is just sketch, and it's really not relatable. So you can, it's optional. You can just draw in some lines to indicate, where different things is, and it becomes much more pronounced, what is what, and it's also more relatable for you, because you don't see these things in real life, so you don't know how the proportions should look like. So you could edit some details like muscles or something to give you an idea if the proportions are correctly drawn. And here is the belly button, abs even. I'm gonna make him a little bit thinner. And collarbone. And by the way, the neck is way too thin, way too thin. Well, it really depends on the style, how thick the neck is. But by the way, I just found out that the neck is too long, so I'm gonna move the head a little bit down, and then a line for the eyes and another line for the ears, and that's about it. Okay, so if you look at it again, it looks much better, actually much more realistic, and it looks okay. This character is correctly proportioned drawn. So we are going to start with the details, and of course we're gonna go from top to bottom again. So yeah, for the head, for the face, I have a video on how to draw the 3/4 view, as I've said, and I'm not going to be very detailed and explaining everything I do. So if you want to learn how to draw the face, I mean the 3/4 view of the anime face of the boy, then you can just check that video out. By the way, this one looks a little bit strange. I'm actually gonna erase his jaw. It's so small anyway, so it's really hard to get in all the details correctly. Just try my best. And giving him a really mundane face. So I do have a video on how to draw hair too, but I don't think it was in 3/4 view. Maybe I should do one on that. But in my video where I show you guys how to draw 3/4 view of the face of an anime boy, I also showed you how to draw the hair. So make sure you check that video out. I'm gonna put a link to that video in the description. And but it's actually really simple if you get the idea on how to get the flow of the hair correctly. But sometimes if you want to draw really stylish hair, then it starts to become difficult again. Okay, so that was the hair, and we are going to give him clothes. For this character, I'm going to give him a sweater, not a sweater, a hoodie. So I don't know why, but I really like to draw hoodie. I've kind of got a really good sense of how different things curves and creases on hoodies. So it's actually there's really not much to talk about here, because I have also made a video on how to draw creases, but not for a hoodie, of course. I might want to do a video on that too. But so the thing about hoodie is that there are many different types of fabrics you can get of a hoodie, but most of them are probably a little bit hard. Not very hard fabric, but hard compared to like a t-shirt, and it's also thick Well, not for the girls. The girls hoodie tends to be a little bit, not thick, but again, it is thicker than, t-shirt and other kinds of clothes. So when you're drawing a thick cloth, it tends to have, large bumps. That's about it. I don't think there's anything special about it. Is there? I don't know. This one is strange. I'm gonna change it. No, this one is too strange. Why every creases look so strange now? I don't know. Okay, now that looks that looks so strange. I don't know what I'm doing now. I really don't know what I'm doing. Okay, acceptable. I just leave it like that. And also, I have mentioned it in the other video, but the creases of the top of the body is gonna be pointing towards the center, downwards, like pointing towards the pelvis. I don't know why really, but it's just like that. It has always been like that. Also, at the end of the clothes, make sure you have a curve, not a straight line. Of course, in some cases it has a straight line, but most of the cases you want to have a curve on that spot. And for jeans, it's really hard fabric and it's also really thick, so the bumps are quite big, and also the creases is quite no, there are fewer creases, but the creases are more. Oh, I'm sorry guys. It's really hard to remember what to do. I forgot to zoom it out, but for jeans, remember that that the creases are large and deep. Now for the shoes, I'm just going to give him a really normal running shoes. Okay, now for the hands, that's pretty much what we're lacking. And by the way, I'm just going to erase these muscle lines. Of course, these does not belong here. If you do not draw the muscle lines when having a glove, it will look like the clothes is really tight. Okay, so I have a video on how to draw hands relaxed. So because it's really hard, to explain all the stuff that I'm doing here now, in one video. So you can, just check that video out, guys. Just check that video out on how to draw hands. But basically, if you look at how I draw, the sketch for it, you will see that I have, these guidelines that are, that are slanted. I mean, the pinky is shorter, but they kind of follow a curve. These fingers. How these fingers curve, and the length of each of them. And of course I'm going to give him a t-shirt inside of the sweater that he's wearing, or a hoodie. I don't know what this kind of clothes is called. This garment is a hoodie. I think it's called a hoodie, but I feel like hoodie is not a very normal word. So maybe it's called a sweater, but I think this is not a sweater because sweater do not tend to have a hoodie in it. I don't know. But I'm just gonna add some creases to here and maybe to that part. Also, I'm gonna make the lines a little bit clearer. By the way, this is looking a little bit strange. Okay, so if we zoom out again, it looks pretty alright. Just some minor issues with this part of leg. And this crease is really ugly. I'm gonna change it to something more natural, like this. Actually gonna move it a little bit to the side, like that. And for the neck, let's just draw it. No, make it clearer where the neck is. Okay, let's check this out. And pretty alright. Of course, I forgot, the laces. Now, of course, I think we're done. Okay, so let's just say we're done. and we are going to draw. I know this hand is a little bit unnatural. I don't know why. Maybe they're pointing a little bit too much to to the front, but whatever. Let's just go ahead and shade this guy because it's taking a long time now. Before I do that, I'm just gonna make this really clear where different thing is. Okay, so for shading, just do diagonal lines. I feel like I'm repeating, whatever I've said on the other videos where I show you guys how to draw the proportions of a body in the front view and side view, because most of those principles applies here, and you can, if you know how to draw a side view, it's very likely that you know how to draw the 3/4 view also. There are just minor perspective changes and stuff. So as you can see, I'm also doing the gradient. Here you can see the the lines, but here I'm just doing the gradient. I don't really care that much on if it's clear lines, cross hatching, or if it's just a gradient. As long as it looks like shadows, that's the most important thing. And actually, I have this really sharp pencil here, mechanical pencil. A lot of people ask me what this is. This is just a mechanical pencil. I don't really know what this is. Pilot Super Grip 0.1, I mean 0.7. So this is just a pencil from like 10 years ago or something. I don't know. Okay, and of course I'm going to add a line that is on the side of the jeans, and also a line here. And then I'm just going to give him an overall shade to the jeans. Here it's important that you get the pressure, have the same pressure throughout the whole jeans, and also the spaces should be the same, but I fail a little bit there, whatever. And then also I'm going to give him a shade on the whole sweater or hoodie. And the reason, actually there's no reason why I'm doing this direction, did the shadows in those direction and this direction. No, there's no reason. I'm just doing it because I feel like I'm touching this side if I place my hand like this, whatever. Okay, now for the t-shirt inside, I'm going to give it a really dark shade like that. For the shoes, again, much darker. Kind of doing cross hatching here. I don't know. I don't really care about cross hatching or gradient as long as it looks like shadows. And last but not least, of course, some lines on the ear, and we are done. So hope you guys learned something new. And If you like the video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, just leave that in the comment section below, and I will be uploading a new video pretty soon. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.